There was a kitchen table in Toledo, Ohio that stayed set for two, even after there was only one person left to sit at it. Same placemat, same glass, same quiet. Because back then, snacks weren't just something to munch on. They were what got you through the long stretch between meals and the even longer stretch between memories. Some of these took 5 minutes, some cost pennies, and some, you only made it when nobody else was around to see. If you grew up in the 1970s, you didn't just eat these, you lived on them. And I promise you, by the time we reach the end of this list, at least one of these will take you right back to a kitchen you haven't thought about in years. Let's start with one that showed up at every party, but somehow meant even more the day after. Number 10. Chex Party Mix. Before it came in a bag, Chex Party Mix was something you made yourself, slow and steady. A big roasting pan on the counter, rice Chex, wheat Chex, a handful of pretzels, maybe some mixed nuts if they were on sale. Then came the part you never rushed. Melted butter, a splash of Worcestershire sauce, a shake of garlic salt, maybe a little onion powder. You stirred it all together until every piece was coated, then slid it into the oven at low heat. An hour, sometimes more, stirring every 15 minutes like clockwork. By the time it was done, the whole house smelled warm, savory, lived in. In the 1970s, this wasn't just party food. It was what you ate the next day, standing at the counter, picking out your favorite pieces one by one. A box of cereal cost less than $1 back then. The rest, you already had. And somehow, that homemade batch always tasted better than anything that ever came out of a store bag. Because it wasn't just a snack, it was your kitchen in a bowl. Number 9. Stuffed celery. There was always a plate of stuffed celery sitting somewhere in the house, usually near the edge of the table, never the center. A few stalks of celery washed and cut just right. That familiar crunch you could hear before you even took a bite. Then, the filling. Cream cheese, softened just enough to spread easy. Sometimes plain, sometimes mixed with a little seasoning if someone felt fancy. You dragged a butter knife down the groove, slow and careful, making sure every inch was filled. In the 1970s, this showed up at holidays, card nights, church gatherings. But the real version? That was the one you made for yourself, standing at the counter, no plate needed. Celery was cheap, cream cheese lasted all week, and it took less than 2 minutes to put together. Cold, crisp, just a little creamy. It wasn't the kind of snack people talked about, but it was always there, quiet, dependable, just like the kitchens it came from. Number 8, Lipton onion soup dip with sour cream. There was a bowl that showed up at almost every gathering, and somehow, it was always the first one empty. Lipton onion soup dip, one envelope, torn open and poured straight into a bowl of sour cream. No cooking, no measuring, no fuss. You stirred it slow, watching those dry flakes turn into something thick, rich, and full of flavor. Then it went into the fridge, because everybody knew it tasted better cold. In the 1970s, this wasn't just a dip. It was the reason a whole bag of chips disappeared in one sitting. Ruffled potato chips, strong enough to scoop without breaking. That mattered. A packet cost pennies. Sour cream was already in the fridge, and when the house finally went quiet, you'd come back for one more scoop, standing there, dipping straight from the bowl, no plate, no company, just that sharp, creamy bite that somehow tasted even better when nobody else was around. Number 7. Peanuts in an RC Cola. You didn't learn this one from a recipe. You learned it by watching somebody older do it first. A cold glass bottle of RC Cola in your hand. You took a small sip, just enough to make room. Then came the trick. A sleeve of salted peanuts, torn open, poured straight into the bottle. No hesitation, they hit the soda with a soft fizz. Some sank, some floated, and then you took a drink. Sweet, salty, cold, crunchy, all at once. In the 1970s, this wasn't unusual. It was something you saw at gas stations, front porches, ball games. Nobody explained it, you just knew. A bottle of RC cost pocket change. Peanuts were even less. And somehow, together, they made something better than either one alone. It wasn't neat, it wasn't proper, but it was one of those little things that made perfect sense in a time that didn't need explaining. Number 6, frozen orange juice popsicles. Before freezers were packed with boxes of treats, you made your own. A can of frozen orange juice concentrate, pulled from the freezer and set on the counter just long enough to soften, mixed with water, stirred in a plastic pitcher you probably still remember, then poured carefully into ice cube trays. And right before it started to set, you stuck a toothpick in the middle of each one, hoping it would stand straight. That part never worked perfectly, but it didn't matter. A few hours later, you had homemade popsicles. In the 1970s, this was summer in a kitchen without air conditioning. Kids opening the freezer door too often, checking if they were ready. A can cost less than $1 and made a whole tray. Cold, a little tart, and tasting exactly like the orange juice you drank that morning. No wrappers, no brand names, just something simple. You made with what you already had and couldn't wait to eat. Number 5, chocolate milk. Chocolate milk wasn't something you bought. It was something you made, just the way you liked it. A cold glass of milk straight from the fridge. Then that familiar bottle of chocolate syrup, sitting right there on the shelf. You turned it upside down, squeezed it, and counted in your head. Everyone had their own number. Then came the stirring. A spoon hitting the sides of the glass, slow at first, then faster, until that dark swirl at the bottom finally disappeared. But if you didn't stir it right, you knew what was coming. The first sip, too light. The last sip, way too sweet. In the 1970s, that was part of it. You learned by doing. A bottle of syrup lasted weeks. Milk was already in the house, and somehow, it always tasted better when you made it yourself. Not perfect, not measured, just a simple glass that felt like it belonged to you every single time. Number 4, peanut butter fudge. This wasn't the kind of fudge you needed a thermometer for. No stove, no waiting around, just a bowl on the counter. A big scoop of peanut butter, thick, a little stiff, the kind that held its shape. Then came the corn syrup, poured right over the top, slow and sticky. You took a spoon and started mixing. At first it looked like a mess, too soft, too glossy, but then it changed. It tightened up, turned dense, almost like dough. That's when you knew it was ready. In the 1970s, this was called poor man's fudge, because real fudge took things you didn't always have. This didn't. Peanut butter was already in the cabinet. Corn syrup sat there for months, and in less than 5 minutes, you had something sweet, rich, and filling. No cutting into perfect squares, no plates, just breaking off a piece with your fingers and tasting something that felt a whole lot bigger than the 2 ingredients it came from. Number 3, cream cheese on date nut bread. There was always a loaf sitting on the counter, wrapped in wax paper, a little dense, a little dark. Date nut bread. You sliced it thick because thin slices just didn't hold up. Inside, sweet chopped dates, bits of walnut, packed tight into every bite. Then came the cream cheese, cold from the fridge, spread slow across the surface, thicker than you probably needed. It didn't melt. It just sat there, rich and smooth, against that heavy bread. In the 1970s, this showed up at church sales, holiday tables, and sometimes quietly at home with a cup of coffee. The bread could last for days. Cream cheese stretched even longer, and together, it made something that felt a little more special without costing much at all. Sweet, creamy, just a little firm to bite. It wasn't flashy, but it was the kind of snack you never rushed through. Number 2, pizza toast. This wasn't real pizza, but it was meant to feel like it. A slice of bread laid flat, a thin layer of sauce spread edge to edge, and a bit of cheese on top, sometimes just enough to cover the middle. Into the oven, left there until the edges turned crisp and the top started to bubble. You could see it changing, slowly. Standing there in the kitchen, watching it cook, Did it ever feel like you were about to have something better than it really was? Because this wasn't about getting it perfect. It was about turning something simple into something that looked familiar. And for a moment, it came pretty close. Number 1, sharp cheddar cheese straws with cayenne. These weren't something you threw together in a minute, but when they showed up, you remembered them. Cheese straws. Sharp cheddar, grated fine, mixed with flour and cold butter, worked together by hand. Then just a pinch of cayenne. Not too much, just enough to sneak up on you. You rolled the dough out thin, cut it into long strips, and laid them out side by side. Into the oven they went until the edges turned golden and the smell filled the whole kitchen. In the 1970s, these were party food. Holiday trays, Sunday visits, something a good cook took pride in. They snapped when you broke them. Crisp, buttery, with that slow little heat at the end. A block of cheese could stretch a long way. The rest was pantry basics. And even though they took a little more time, they never lasted long once they hit the table. Because some snacks filled you up. And some, like this one, made people come back for just one more, every single time. Maybe you haven't had these in years, but something about them never really left. Because it wasn't just the taste, it was the time, the place, the people. And sometimes, all it takes is one small bite to bring it all back.